come on. You see that, guys? See that? It's raining. It's raining. Which is a good thing, because today, rather than letting the kind of rainy weather get me down or whatnot, I decided, let's make a video on how to ride in the rain. I generally ride in mostly anything, especially when I had the KLR. I really didn't give a hoot about what the weather was really doing, unless it was like an actual downpour. It's not safe to be riding in that, but like rain, you know, like a general rain shower or this kind of stuff. I mean, geez, I came outside, I was like, yeah, rain, like we'll make a video, and it kind of seemed like it's stopping. But basically, for me, like the riding in the rain is no different than riding in the dry. It's just that you got to be a little bit more prepared for it. You know, different clothing, and you know, I'm wearing my wellies and my rain pants. But we'll talk more about that when we're getting on the ride. So let's get to it, eh? Okay, so step number 1, riding in the rain. Waterproof gear, or as waterproof as you can get. That goes without saying. I always carry I'm not always wearing this Revit rain jacket. This is kind of like a mild touring jacket. It's got a relatively water-resistant outer shell, and then it has a liner on the inside for anything that's going to kind of leak through. But if I'm not wearing this jacket, especially when it's the summer, because this jacket's way too warm, I will always carry on me my Revit rain gear, like the pullover kind of like these pants. These pants go with that outfit. So I always carry those on me, because you never know when the weather's gonna rear its head, and they're just a slip over. You could kind of ball out and get yourself, like, you know, a tour jacket, tour pants, to kind of ride through anything. But for me, I really do love tour pants, but my God, do they get really, really warm. And if they do start soaking through, you got to take off your entire, you know, pant to let it dry out, and got to carry a change of clothes with you. Whereas with these guys, you know, if they start getting wet, I pull over, you know, at a coffee shop or something, and kind of let them air out, and they're dry within 20 minutes, you know. I've never really had these guys leak through on me. They're pretty darn good. The next thing you would want to is a pair of riding boots that can take the weather. These are Falco Liberty 2.1 boots. They're a mid-height boot, so definitely not your high riding adventure boot, but they're mid-level, and they're pretty good. You know, they're pretty good. I wouldn't say it'd be great to go riding in them, like if it, you know, when the weather starts to get heavy. I'd much rather have like a complete full protection waterproof boot. But you can you can get old school with it and throw a garbage bag over your sock, and then put that into the boot, and you'll be good to go. But these guys, they're pretty good. I feel personally like riding in the rain too is kind of dependent on the bike that you have, but it's kind of perfect to be making this video today when I'm riding the TU, which is the most naked bike you could have to be riding in the rain, because I got no protection, and I think even the wheels are kind of splashing up onto my boots, so perfect. So jacket, pants, pullover pants, boots, and then of course your gloves. If your hands are starting to get cold in the rain and damp, the ride is over, because you are going to be miserable, and you start shifting slower because your hand is starting to cramp up, and it's just not fun for anyone. So getting a good pair of waterproof gloves. Now, Fortnite did a video on this a while back about like full waterproof everything. I highly recommend that video because he explains it way better than I ever would. But he does say one thing which he's right about, which is getting yourself a pair of waterproof gloves that are actually snowmobile. And I think these guys are that. These are from Oxford, but these are from their winter line. So from that line of snowmobile. So I don't remember the actual name of these gloves off the top of my head. I might be able to find them, and if I do, I'll put the link in the description. But these are snowmobile gloves. They are really warm, and I've never had them leak through. And I've kind of put these through the ringer. They have like the slightest bit of padding on them, but the main thing for me is that I can put them over my jacket and then cinch them, and that way no water is getting down inside my hand at all. And I really, really like that. Unfortunately, yes, you know, thicker gloves means less, you know, grip and bar feel, but honestly, you just have to adapt your, like, get used to it and adapt your style a little bit. Shift slower, roll off the throttle and on the throttle slower, just little things like that. So that's kind of it for the gear. Another thing which I'm already failing at is a clear visor with a pin lock insert yellow visor, or just a straight up amber visor. That it's it's an overcast day. It's very flat light, and so if you have something that kind of brightens things up, like an amber visor or the pin lock, it makes everything higher contrast and you can see everything a little bit better. Because yeah, flat light and a miserable, the miserable rainy ride, it's it's just you can't see as much. Your view is a little bit obscured. So I'm already failing that because I'm wearing a dark smoke visor. Pop open all your helmet vents. That kind of sounds like it's counterintuitive and you're trying to keep moisture out or whatnot, but no moisture is really getting through these vents, and it helps prevent your visor from fogging up. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents with the gear, basically. Obviously, carry an extra pair. Like if you can predict the weather and it's going to be a rainy day and you're going to be riding in it, pack an extra pair of socks, underwear if you need to, and you should be good to go. Now, when it comes to riding and you're just kind of sitting here for long periods, especially if you're doing a travel adventure and you're touring or whatnot and you get stuck in rain, always good to every now and again just kind of stand up and let the water drain off your jacket. It likes to pool up in the crotch area of your pants and kind of drip from the jacket down into that area. So just so that it doesn't puddle up and leak through, because even the most water resistant pants like these guys, I feel like eventually, if the water sits for long periods of time, it has enough time to just start soaking through. So just stand up every now and again, shake out, and you should be golden. Oh, hello. Kind of enjoy riding in the rain, and you will see the other riders out there. It's usually the adventure type riders, like on big Africa Twins and BMW GSs and whatnot, and you see them riding, but they got so much fairing protection and stuff. It's like, yeah, why not? I had just borrowed a V-Strom 650 for the past few days, letting the TU rest. I got to replace its clutch out soon. I can kind of tell that it's starting to feel a little crummy. So I just borrowed my friend's V-Strom for a little while, and that was great. And that bike, my God, I rode it through, it was a sunny day, all day, and then I was riding on the highway to go to a local shop's kind of a deal day that they had, and I was on the highway and it just started downpouring on me, like pretty heavy rain. And that bike being an adventure touring kind of bike, man, I forgot what it was like to have fairing protection. I barely got wet, and I just kind of, pulled through the highway, and that was good. Oh my God, we're crawling. Whew. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone through the gear and whatnot, it's time to actually talk about riding in the rain. And one of the first things that I feel that we should be doing when we're riding in the rain, there's no real difference to riding in the rain, like riding in the wet and riding in the dry. A lot of people get freaked out about riding in the rain because they feel everything is slipperier and whatnot. But honestly, besides painted lines and manhole covers, little things like that, are a little bit more slick in the rain. The actual pavement itself in the road is just as grippy on the tires as it would be in the dry. So that's a misconception that a lot of people seem to have, is just like riding in the rain, everything's slick and slippery and stuff. And it's like, well, there's little things that are, but the actual road itself is completely fine. So number one, you're doing everything a little slower, like a little bit more ginger. You're not going to be flying through the corners as hard. So just do everything as you normally would, just like a little bit slower, just a little smoother, a little bit more gradual. And when it comes to braking and stuff, just be more aware of it as you're coming to your stop. You're not grabbing a handful of front brake and you're not stomping on the rear. You're just slowly applying those brakes up until your stop. So you're just kind of predicting ahead of time your stop, and that's kind of about it. But other than that, trust your tires. There's a lot of accidents and stuff that occur with, some guys that are riding in the rain and they're taking a corner and they think they can't take the corner as they normally would because it's wet out, and so they don't lean as hard, and then they just kind of fly out of the corner. Trust your tires. You'll make it through that corner. Just lean into it as you normally would. You're going to be just fine. See, like right now, I'm just very slowly applying the brakes, and then as I'm coming to my stop, that's kind of it. When it comes to traffic situations, I take off a little bit later than I normally do and just give everyone a little bit more time. Cars are kicking up, like their tires are kicking up a lot of debris back at us, a lot of wet and muck, and so I hang back a little farther when riding in the rain, just to avoid all that, to avoid that splash zone. So yeah, just hang back a little bit. It also gives you obviously more time to predict your stop if you need to apply your brakes in a more panicky situation. Whew, we are crawling this morning, everybody. When you can, today is a perfect example of me not being able to, but when you can, if you see a dry spot on the road, like a dry patch, because cars are digging out the path ahead of us, and so when there's a dry spot and you can, just kind of ride where their tires were, like ride their tire line, and that will dry off your rubbers basically, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, like see, if right now this truck was like, if it was like a little bit drier out and he was clearing out a path for us, oh, that'd be beautiful. And I know exactly where this guy's going. Oh, he's not going up there. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, the Lord. Ah, here comes the rain. There we go. Another thing to add, just for me, this is just what I do, is that when it comes to like single lane stretches of road. Everyone's kind of close up, and so I just kind of ride over on the right side a little bit more than I normally would, and that's just because those cars on that side of the road are kind of kicking up water just as much as the people that are in front of you are, and that's kind of splashing it over to you. So I just kind of hang out over here on the right a little bit more, so that way I don't get absolutely caked front and to the sides. So there you go for that. Oh yeah, I can see the water just spouting from my front. That's funny. So a lot of people, when they're kind of riding in the rain, again, like I was saying, it's usually a little bit more brisk out when it's raining, and so a lot of people kind of get tight and they kind of bind up on the bike. You bring your arms forward because you're just trying to stay warm, and you want to try and fight that urge as best you can, which kind of goes in line with the whole pulling over frequent for teas and coffees and kind of warming yourself up. So just avoid that urge to kind of bind in and get tight on the bike, because if you're making jerky movements on the bike, especially when you're riding in the rain, you're just asking for trouble at that point. You're not going to control the bike as easily. You're not going to move it around as easily. So as best you can, just straighten up, and allow yourself to get wet. There's no avoiding it. Allow yourself to kind of get wet, and just like I said, frequent over pulling over for some coffee and tea. Let yourself dry out, and then you're back on the road. So that's another tip there. Be careful for large puddles. Potholes, man, in this city, the potholes we have, they get quite large. So avoid all the big puddles that you see. You might often forget, on your daily route where the potholes exactly are. And so you might hit one of those massive puddles and boom, it's a pothole, and you will start aquaplaning, and that's no good on a motorcycle. So as best you can, avoid all the puddles that you see. You don't need to be falling inside of one of those guys. Wow, this is cool. It's been a while since I've actually been out in the rain. Geez, I'm enjoying this, this is what I mean when it comes to there's a raw sense to it, because right now we're going 75 down this flat straight, and I don't know, it's just it's so raw. It's like the wind and the rain is kind of hitting you, and it feels like you're on some grand expedition, like you're on a big tour, but really you're just doing your daily ride. Perfect time to pull over and just kind of dry off a little. Oh, the bike's not, well, my seat's not too bad, but it's not bad at all. It's not even really raining anymore. So, yeah. One thing I was going to say before we took off, and it's just slipped my mind, is just check your tire tread, because if you're going out riding in the rain and you have some old tires on there, and you can kind of see your rear tires just kind of starting to get slick and bald, at that point you might as well just be riding on slicks in the rain, pardon me. And that's no good, so you'll just have no grip there. So, I mean, you can't predict the weather, especially when it comes to getting new tires and whatnot. But God, I'm burping like crazy. I'm hungry. You can't predict all that naturally, but it is nice if you have a good fresh set of rubbers, or not fresh set, but a good set of rubbers, and you'll be better off that way. You won't be You won't be as slick in the rain. So yeah. Okay, back to it. I think it's really funny, all the looks you get when you're out riding in the rain. The people that don't ride see that and they're like, "Oh no, you're out riding in the rain. What are you doing?" And it's like, having a good time. How about you? Oh God, look at the bike. It's just caked in bleh. I think I'll pull over somewhere and get a coffee soon. Honestly, the TU is really good in the rain, despite having no fairing and no protection at all, besides my minuscule little windscreen that does a little. She does really well in the rain. I had a friend once who had an older TU tell me that for some reason, like his TU would like die in the rain, like the like especially he kind of rode in everything, but he said his would like sputter out, and I think it's because the spark boots or whatever in his were all crumbed up, and I think water was kind of getting in there and just like just killing the bike. But mine, man, I've taken mine through a showers, and it never really let me down. But again, would I take something with more fairing protection? Yes, of course. Always. So anyways, let's keep this going. So yeah, when I'm coming in, these aren't heavy corners, but when I'm coming into my corners, I just kind of get ready for the corner a little bit earlier, and I just kind of take my time. I'm not going to go through it as fast as I normally do, but again, I trust my tires. I know that they're going to grip through it, and you make it through just fine. If you're kind of flying at it, and then I got to like panic brake, and get ready for my corner that way, and then just take it hot. Wouldn't recommend it. Just take the corner at a gradual speed and you'll be just fine. You won't lose any grip, you won't slide out. Everything will be A1. All of this stuff that I'm saying is good for this kind of weather, as well as the drizzly or actually like a light rain shower, but I'm not the kind of person to go ride in actual heavy rain. I know quite a few guys that do, and they don't mind it at all. But again, it's the bike that you have, and they definitely have adventure touring bikes that really don't care if you're riding in that weather, and the protection around them is insane. So I wouldn't be doing that. I'll tell you a funny one. There was one time that me and Noah went out for a ride. This was 5 years ago, I think. And this is around the time he had his Super Sport, and I was on this. And we were out riding, and we went to a nice spot here in Nova Scotia. We went to the Valley Look-Off, and it was a beautiful sunny day. Like the weather was awesome. And we get out there, and we're looking at the Look-Off, or we're looking out from the Look-Off, and we see in the distance one massive black cloud. It was huge. And he was like, "We got to go that way, don't we?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we do." And he was like, "You think we're going to hit that?" And I was like, "I don't know." Yes, we did hit that. And we were going through Windsor, and we're just trudging along. And guys, the sky was black. Like, it was like a beautiful sunny day. I think it was like 3 in the afternoon. Perfectly sunny day. And as soon as we got underneath that cloud, it was nighttime. It was so massive and so dark that we could see our headlights like working on the road. It was insane. All right, lady, you got it. Jeez. Oh God! Before I finish that story, please, this is one thing about riding in the rain you want to be really cautious about. Here in Halifax, here in Nova Scotia, I don't know like what the city is doing when it comes to like fixing up roads, but recently all they've been doing is throwing down like tar onto cracks in the road and calling it a day, and yep, that's fixed. And so there's a bunch of tar snakes out on the road, and in the heat like of the summer and in the rain, these get slick. So just be very careful when you're out riding. And again, the other thing is that they're hard to see in the rain. The ground is all shiny and wet and reflective, and the tar snakes are like that even in the dry. So it's kind of hard to make them out. So if you know a road that has them and they're kind of heavy, just be very slow and take it easy when you're going down the road. Take your corners slower. maybe do slow down for these ones. Trust your tires still, but take the corner a little slower. The last thing you need is to hit a stretch of tar snakes while you're going through a corner and kind of slip. So, like right now, I can see them, and I know where they are, and I'm just going to take it slow through this corner. I can see them right around here, so there we go. And we're good. But anyways, yeah. So we were in Windsor, yeah. So the cloud, it was like nighttime. It was huge. The whole sky was black, and it just let go on us. And it was no joke, like buckets of water on top of us. It was insane, and it was the first time that we hydroplaned on motorcycles, and we had to really slow it down as smoothly as we could, because that was really scary. Completely losing the control of your motorcycle. We pulled over under like an overpass here, like just under a bridge, and waited for it. And we took off our clothes, and you know, he took off his boots and just emptied out a fucking pool of water. And I did pretty much the same. And within like 10 minutes, it was back to sun again, and and all the rain had disappeared, and it was like, oh my god, like this weather. So yeah, that was a rough one. But again, I rode this thing through it, and the bike didn't care. It didn't choke up or clog up or anything like that. So good on you, TU. You can take a hit. But man, that was a rough one. And Noah was. I'll post, if I can find the photos, I'll post the photos here in this video, off to the side or something, because it is, his face, it says it all. He was so mad. Oh man, and he was wearing his bike suit, like his kind of like road race suit. Oh my god, he was like completely stuck to it, and he was trying to like peel it off his skin, and it wasn't coming off, and oh my god, the poor man. But you know, this bike is not made for the highway, but for him, I was like, do you want to hit the highway and dry off on the way home? And he was like, yes please. So we just took the highway home. But oh man, that was a rough rainy day. I wonder if there's going to be anyone here at the local meetup here riding bikes today. Probably not. They will think I'm crazy. Alright guys, that's, God, I hope I touched on some points that actually made sense in that video. That's pretty much it for riding in the rain. Things that I didn't really touch on were staying, you know, kind of left and right in the roads, and avoiding all of the oil slicks. Because you want to stay kind of in the left and right of the road. You don't want to stay in the center, because that's kind of where cars are dropping all their gunk and stuff, is in the middle of the road. So avoid the middle of the road if you can, and just stay off the side, left or right. But that's kind of it. So yeah, get yourself some gear that can handle the rain. Like, see, look at this. Like, these were wet up here, and now they're all dry, so it doesn't take them very long to dry up. But just get yourself some riding gear that can kind of handle the rain if you feel like you're the person to want to take on most weather as a rider, and get out there and just go ride in the rain, go explore. It's a lot of fun and nothing to be afraid of. So that's it for this video, guys. We will see you in the next one. If you have any questions, comments, just leave it down in the description, and we will try and respond to those when we see them. So, all right, everybody, thank you. Have a good ride. Stay safe. Keep the wheels down.